So we'll see it clean itself on the silicone strip on the back, and then that metal strip right there, just to make sure that it's good to go. And once it's ready, it's going to still do some more calibrations here in a few minutes. It's going to be doing some bed leveling, and I'm just trying to position the little trash bucket right there, trying to get it ready. Yep. So as you can see right now, basically what it's doing the bed leveling. It's all automated. Nothing has to be done manually. This system knows exactly what it needs to do, which is very user-friendly. And for those that are new to the room right now, I'm basically going to get ready to run a test for a new filament that I'm putting into the machine. This plastic that I'm getting ready to put in is going to be a silk rose gold color filament. And the test that I'm doing is what's called a benchy, and it's basically a boat, a little steamboat that is printed just for the purpose of making sure that the future print jobs with this filament is going to look good. So, and to see if there's any possible problems going on with the printer. I don't do this all the time. I'm just starting to do this with some of my print jobs, and anytime that I use a new filament now for the very first time, I will use the benchy as a test and add it to my collection, just so that I can also have, oh, thank you for the likes. I'll also be able to keep a little collection of the different color filaments that I'm using. So I'll try to keep a good running track history, because what I need to start doing is actually getting myself a log of some type, so that I know what brand I bought, what type. So if I get a bad filament that doesn't work and I have issues with, I need to be annotating that for future print jobs, so I don't go spending money on filament that I already bought, that I know that I come to find out that it's not going to be good for me. So right now it's basically doing the dynamic flow calibration. It's basically kicking out some filament. Since this is the first time that it's doing it, it's going to go fairly quick. So as you can see, there it goes. It's starting the print job right now. And again, this is nothing but just a small boat for the purpose of testing the printer. And this is going definitely at a very fast speed. The print job estimated time right now is 15 minutes. So this is definitely a good test for a live stream, because you can see basically in a short 15-minute window a complete project. And then once I'm finished with this project, then I'll start my next print job, which I think I am going to try to do a dragon scale pen in this rose gold filament, for the purpose of providing it as a gift. And for those that are not sure what I'm talking about, these are the pens I'm talking about. It's basically a dragon scale pen, which the only thing that I need to I buy in bulk, is the ink that we fill in, that's filled inside there. It's just a simple ink cartridge that you can buy in bulk on Amazon or wherever you want to buy it from. And then it's just basically, once you get the print job done, you screw that on top, and there you go. You'll get a pen. And yes, I definitely could go buy a pen and have it all ready, but again, this just the fun of being able to use a 3D printer to do these little projects like this is what 3D printing's for. For me, I don't go and sell these items. A lot of the stuff that I'm printing is basically all for educational purposes for myself, and any end products that I get end up becoming either gifts for coworkers, friends, or family. And the Benchy boat that I'm printing right now, that Benchy is basically going to be a display piece for myself, just so that I can keep a track history of the filament that I'm using. And the next thing what I'll end up doing is I'll start taking photos. I'm trying to create a photo library of the Benchies with the actual product name that I bought. So I'll get the information from the box, gather all that information, and just start keeping myself a historical tracking of all the different filaments that I'm using on a specific time frame. So again, I don't want to get to the point that I'm going to buy a filament and then see that it's not going to work and repeat it and buy a whole brand new roll of filament that I know that is just going to be horrible. So, but as we're going on right now, I definitely appreciate the likes that I was getting. Thank you very much. For those that are new to the room, this is basically just going to be a quick print. We got about 11 minutes left on the print time right now. And what's going to end up becoming is just a small little boat that looks similar to this boat right here. And the whole purpose of this is nothing but to test the printer out and testing out the filament to see how the printer reacts to it, and if I'm going to get any future problems with any bigger print jobs. So I'd rather do a quick 20-minute test print before sacrificing a whole bunch of filament on a bad print. So I'm just scrolling through the visitors that are in my room right now just to see if anybody has any comments or anything. Me watching to know that what you need, but too lazy to welcome out. Yeah. I'm kind of curious because I do have a new 3D printer on order right now, and I'm afraid that I'm going to end up giving the new printer more attention than the A1 Mini. And but again, this A1 Mini that I'm using right now, I love this machine. This is a great machine. For anybody that is interested in 3D printing, or maybe you never even thought about 3D printing and now curious about it, the Bamboo Labs A1 Mini honestly is a great starter printer for anybody. It's super easy to use. I'm not affiliated by them. I'm not getting paid by them or anything like that. This printer was purchased out of my own pocket, and I got it at my local Best Buy for about $250. The filament that I use here can run between about $12 to maybe the mid-20s, considering what type of filament you want to buy and colors and different type of materials. This material that I'm using right now is called the Silk PLA, and the color is a rose gold. This is the first time that I've used this filament, so I'm just running this test right now. And as far as this machine, the A1 Mini, this thing can do so many different type of print jobs. For the small size that it is, it's kind of interesting the things that you can find out on all the different print files that are available that you can actually print on here. Last night, I didn't need a hanger for traveling, but I was able to make a foldable hanger that I can simply take with me, and if I need to hang something, I have the hanger available. It was a test that I was running, and I just wanted to see how it would print out. I liked it, and it's one of those ones that now that I added it to my favorites, so I'll use it for in the future if I ever need to create more of them. I know where exactly I have it. But this Benchy that the Benchy boat that I'm doing right now is just a test. It's after it's printed, it's just going to be a little collector's item that I'll put off to the side, just as a little figure. I have I haven't been doing benchies for every single print job, but these are just some other benchies that I did from some other filament that I used. I currently have this blue on my machine, so this is why I have this one here. And the orange, I don't have it on my color management AMS light right now. I took that off, but I just replaced it with it's like a matte, kind of like a tan coffee brown, well, light coffee toffee color. And I'm going to try it to do another project that I have in my brain, as far as a print that I want to test something else out. So a lot of the print jobs that I do are nothing but tests, and I want to see what the capability of these printers are, to see what I can print. And most of the final products that I do are just going to end up being given away to friends and family and coworkers. But the benchies I'm keeping myself, because I want to keep these benchies just as historical records of the different type of filament that I'm using, and I'll document each one of them by the brand name that I bought, so that if I need to purchase that color again or that material again, I can have a sample next to me and say, okay, oh, this is what it was. Or I can find out and say, oh no, that was a horrible filament, I don't want to buy that one again, let me go to a different company and maybe find a different brand. But so far I've not had any bad experiences with any filament. This one right now, knock on wood, is looking like it's working fine with no issues. And as of right now, as I'm doing this TikTok live stream, I'm also doing a YouTube live stream. And right now, I'm getting definitely more viewers than I am on YouTube. And again, thank you for those that have given me some likes. I definitely appreciate that. And thank you for any gifts that anybody's been given. I definitely appreciate those also. But these benchy tests are fairly quick. Well, if you say 20 minutes is quick, but we're already way past the 20-minute mark, and we are now around roughly 5 minutes left for this print job to finish. And as of right now, I think that this rose gold looks like it's going to be a good filament to work with. I'm not going to have any issues with it. And the cool thing about this one, I forgot where I put the box. I'm going to have to find the box. But not only did they send me that gold, that's rose gold filament, but they sent me some samples also. They sent me some different little sample package of different materials. So they sent me a cleaning filament for cleaning purposes, and then this other one was called a gradient matte whisper, or dawn whisper, and it's just a sample so that if I like it, I could test it out with the benchy, and if the benchy looks pretty cool and I like the colors and all that kind of stuff, you know what, I may go back to this company and buy this actual color. And with a lot of these different companies that put out filament, this is the first one that actually provided a bag that I can actually put the filament when it's not in use, so I can keep it dry. So that's actually pretty cool too. That's the first time that I've seen that. But This print is going, it looks like it's going fine. Sometimes you can run into little errors right here at the roof that we're watching, where possible you might see some stray stringing and stuff like that. But as of right now, I do not see that happening. It looks like the roof is coming together fairly good. I do notice that in the back that the circle in the back is not a full circle, so it didn't capture that great, but still overall the boat is looking fine. I do see some layer lines on the hull of the boat, which is expected. You see these kind of things on these benches, but in 3D printing, the one thing I can tell you, if you're not into 3D printing or you've never done it before, uh, you will see the layer lines. They're because this is what it's doing. It's putting plastic in little layers, little layers, little layers, and you're gonna see those layers as the print jobs are being done. And right now, I typically would not. I would have the enclosure that the printer is in. I would have it zipped up and closed, but I'm noticing that the humidity level inside there is at 10%, so I'm okay with that. The temperature is a little bit cooler than normal. It's at 99 degrees, and most of the print jobs that I've been dealing with have been in the, the 112 range. So, but I'm not losing any sleep by losing some of the heat inside this enclosure. But right now, this print job is actually looking fairly good. I'm kind of glad. Again, it's not 100% finished yet, so I'm not gonna chalk this up as a success. And inside the boat, I do see a little stringing going on, not by much. And what that tells me is that maybe I have a little bit too much humidity inside the filament, and it should be dried up a little bit. But overall, it still looks like it'll work for the time being. And it's almost done. It's just got a couple of more layers to do, and then it's going to be finished with this boat. And what you'll see is once it finishes, you'll hear everything stop. It will then cut the filament, and I'll try to see if I can capture that while we're doing this live. Thank you for the likes, I appreciate it. And as you can see right now, it's cutting the filament because it's done with it, and now it's going to just spit out just a tad bit of it, not a lot, because it's still at the next print job. It's going to want to do a full purge of any excess filament that's inside there. And as the bed comes forward, we'll hear a little song, and that tells you that it's finished. So at this point, then it's safe to put your hands inside here because you're not going to end up getting hit by anything, but you just quickly snap it off. And then, like I said, overall it did an okay job of the print. I like right over here underneath this area was a little bit it wasn't a smooth print job. Same with the porthole in the back. It was not the circle did not come out as good as it should have, and the layer lines were But this is what the benchy test is for, is just to kind of look around and say, okay, am I going to potentially have any major issues during this print job? And I think overall I don't think I'll have any major. I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with if I do a regular print job. So, but this is the rose gold, and And what I'm going to probably try right now is I'm going to try to do the rose gold as in this pen form, and I just hope that it's going to be successful. And there is potential we might see a failure. It's again, anything's possible. This print job is probably going to take, I want to say that these dragon pens take about roughly 2 hours. So again, those that are here right now, 2 hours is a lot of time, so I understand if you disappear and head out, and if you do come back, definitely I do welcome you back into the room at any time. If you want to continue or to check back later, feel free to follow my account, and then you'll have a quicker way to find me. And if you do follow me, I will follow you back. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just laying a thin layer of Elmer's glue onto the bed. And this is just to help the print job out. It's not going to cause any damage to anything. The good thing about this Elmer's glue, it is washable. So as I periodically clean this plate off, it's not going to ruin it or anything like that. And where I put the glue at, I know that's going to be the place where these pens are going to be printing on. So if you want to hold on 1 second, I got to get that file queued up, and I just need to go into my saved files. Should have it here in a second. Okay, where is that file at? For some reason my files just keep on hopping from one collection to another collection. Now I'm just trying to go through each folder to see where it's at. Come on, I know you're here. Oh, there we go, I found it. So, I'm just sending it to the software, double checking the material. Everything looks like it's going to be fine. Doing a quick slicing of the software. Alrighty, the estimated time frame for this is going to be about 2 hours and 14 minutes. 6 minutes of it is going to be prep time of the printer doing its calibrations, and the total amount of filament that's going to be used is going to be about 16.34 grams, and the amount cost-wise of filament is just under 50 cents. So it's not a lot of filament that it's going to be using. It does take a little bit of time, and the cost factor of the amount of filament that's being used is not that much. So let me go ahead and get ready to print this real quick. I'm going to send this to this is on number 2. And okay. So now it's sending it through the cloud, through the server, and it's going to be sending it directly to the printer. And you can see it right down here in the settings. The printer is now accepting it remotely because it's connected via Wi-Fi. So if I have nothing on this print plate, I could be away from the house at any time frame, get on my phone and use the Bamboo Studio, the Bamboo Handy app that Bamboo provides, and I can actually do printing remotely and just kick off the printer at any time that I feel like it. The only downside about it is that once the printer is in operations and it stops, if I wanted to do another print job and I'm away from the house, I won't be able to start that next print job until I remove the item off the print bed. So again, that's not a huge, issue, but that's one thing to keep in mind if you do a small project and then you find something that you say, oh, I'd like to do this and it's going to take me 8 hours, and I'd like to kick it off right now, but if you forget that, oh wait, I still need to get to the house and remove that small item that I printed, then that can be potentially a problem. So right now what it's getting ready to do, it's going through the heating of the bed, and once it's finished heating the bed, it will then be ready to start the rest of the calibration. And these are just little test strips of filament that it puts onto the bed. It's going to do a fresh new test strip here in a few minutes, and I just noticed that I forgot to remove it during the last print job, so I just took it off now. And right now it's purging the old filament, and I'll show you that real quick. So the old filament's being purged out of there, but it's going to be using the same filament anyway, but it's just part of the cycle of what it does. And then what it's going to do, it's going to kick it into this little bucket that I have down here. And this orange container that I have down here was actually printed on this printer. I used that orange filament for that little orange benchy that I had, and I actually printed this this bucket right here on this print bed. So now what it's getting ready to do is going through the calibrations, and we're going to be going through a quick vibration compensation calibration. So we're going to see this camera and the device start shaking a little bit. So it's nothing wrong with the camera or anything like that. It's part of the vibration test that it's going to get ready to do. So I just wanted to get everybody aware that there's nothing wrong with your phone, there's nothing wrong with your computer. It's on my side of the house where this desk is going to be vibrating because of the printer. Alrighty, it's still doing its thing. Here comes the print head coming down. There it goes. Now it's just recognizing where it's at. And that's the vibration compensation that I was talking about. And by doing this test, what it's doing, it's just making sure where the environment where the printer's at on the desk. So as it's printing, it understands already what the vibration rate was, and it can make any adjustments during the print jobs. So it's just part of the testing. Right now it's going to be doing the tool head cleaning, so it's just cleaning any residue of any type of filament off of it. And now it's just waiting for the appropriate temperature, and then it's going to kick off the next test. It's going to now start the bed leveling. And it's not going to go through a full bed test because it's only a small area where this print's going to be made at. So it's going to just cover around the area of where the print is going to be at. If it was a bigger print job, it would go and basically do this around the entire print bed. So now it's going to get ready to do a little test, a test print of the filament here in a second. And then it's going to go through two filament purges. And basically the filament, when it does these the purging of the waste filament, in the 3D world it's called filament poop, basically. Thank you for the likes, I appreciate it, thank you. Yeah, the filament poop that comes out is basically just the nozzle being cleaned out and making sure that it's not going to have any issues with the amount of flow of filament during the print job. So this is called the dynamic flow calibration of the filament. So it's going to detect if there's any issues with the rate of the flow of the actual filament. And right now it seems like everything is working fine. I don't see any issues. I'll show you right now where how the filament is coming out of there. And it's just basically extruding a little bit of that filament. It'll do it this time and it'll kick it out into the bucket or the container. And then it's going to do it one more time. And then after this one, then it's going to be ready to start the print job. It's still sending some of that filament out. And it should be almost about that time for it to pause, and then it's gonna kick that filament out. There, it's getting ready. What am I doing? Grab that piece out of there. But this is basically what it was. It got stuck on this other one here, but it's basically, it's still hot, but all it is just plastic, and then eventually it's just going to harden while it's sitting inside there. And that's why basically they call it filament poop for the most part. If I was doing multi-color printing, the amount of filament waste that comes out of this is crazy. You'll go through so much more filament during multicolor printing, just because it has to purge that filament every time that it needs to make a minor color change. So if you have something that's like very saturated in colors as far as your project, and you're using 4 different color filaments, what's going to end up happening is you're going to find yourself your little waste container for that filament poop is basically going to fill up like crazy, because it's constantly it needs to purge out the old filament for new filament. And that cycle happens. As long as there's a color change required, it's going to do that. So for me, it's going to be a rarity that I end up doing a multicolor project. There's going to be times that I'm going to want to do it, but for the most part, like projects like this, it's basically solid color projects. So this one right now, what you're seeing is it's just finishing the first layers of the filament, and now it's getting ready. It's starting the initial part of the actual project itself. So this is the very bottoms of the 3 different parts of the pens. And for those that are not sure what I'm talking about, with the pens that I'm doing are these dragon scale pens. They come in 3 different parts, and the cap is on the far side. This part right here that holds the pen is up here in the front, and the longer part is over here on this corner. So the longer one is gonna it's gonna take it a little bit longer to finish just because of the height. And the process goes slow at the beginning because it's having to do those 3 layers separately for each part, so it's constantly changing each layer that it has to lay down there. And what you'll see is it's going to go through a layer here, a layer here, a layer here, and then the cycle just keeps on going around until it gets to a specific height. Once it's finished the height on one product, then it's going to concentrate on the other 2, and then once it's finished the height on the second item, then it's going to concentrate nothing but filament on the last item. And again, this project is going to take a while. The projected time as of right now is 2 hours and 3 minutes. So this will take a little bit of time. I'm going to leave my I'm going to stick around here and I want to engage with this live stream throughout the 2 hours, just for those individuals that want us to stick around and watch this. I'll be here. I may sneak away just to go grab a drink or something like that, but if you want to step away also and come back a little bit later, definitely feel free to do that. I don't expect you to be here the entire 2 hours. If you want to, also follow my account, so that if you do leave, then you'll be able to find me a lot easier on the live streams. And if you haven't checked out my my actual profile section, I do have a few things out there on my 3D printings that I've done already, as far as time-lapse photography. The time-lapse photography that's out there is basically been snapped on this A1 Mini. It has its own camera system on it. It's not the greatest camera, and the light that comes with it it's an okay light. It's not super bright, so having this printer inside this enclosure that I bought is definitely beneficial for the printer, because I'm able to hook up LED lights for additional lights inside here, and when it does the time-lapse video, the quality comes out a little bit better just because there's more light. If I didn't have these additional lights inside here doing the time-lapse, the quality wouldn't be there. And again, thank you everybody for the likes. I definitely appreciate them. I really do appreciate it, and for those that have sent gifts, I do appreciate that also. Thank you very, 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 very much. Yeah, this is the first time, for those that are new, for me to use this rose gold filament. I'm really want to get into many different types of colors as far as for future products. The price of filament is reasonable. It's not that crazy of a price. I can buy a full spool of filament for between around maybe $12 up to into the $20 range. So based on the type of filament that you are going to be printing with, which a lot of my projects that I've been doing have been strictly PLA, which is the standard plastic that's used. I have not gotten into the matte color filaments, and that's going to be my next test after this. Is going to be, it's kind of like a light tan, light brown filament that's a PLA that's matte color that I'm interested in working with, because I want to do maybe some possible future products in a matte color, but not in this PLA, but in a different plastic called PETG. That the PETG filament is a lot more stronger and better used for maybe outside applications, or it'll handle heat a lot better than the regular PLA, because this regular PLA, it's great for stuff that's inside the house and, little projects, little toys and things like that. But if you plan on exposing the product to heat, like inside a car or something like that, the regular PLA plastic is probably going to melt and warp on you. The PETG plastic is a little bit more heat resistance. Not saying that it has the potential on like here in Texas, when you get those triple digit summers. I haven't tested it yet to see how it's going to hold up in the Texas heat, but there is the potential that if I printed something and left it in the car, that I will come back and it's warped, more likely, because of the heat. And again, that's the fun part about doing 3D printing, is you get to experiment and figure this stuff out. The sad thing is, yeah, you might lose a project that you worked on, but the cool thing is that you have a 3D printer and you could reprint it whenever you want to. So like these pens that I'm doing right now, I'll do this one pen right now in this rose gold color, and if I say take it to the office and a coworker says, "Oh, I love that, can I have it?" I'll be like, "Yeah, here you go. It's not a problem." I'll just come back home and reprint it again. It's that easy. Or I may have multiple coworkers that maybe have an interest in having one, and I'll say, "Well, I don't have extras right now, but let me know what you want, and I'll go print you out another one in the next couple of days." Because again, I'll prioritize my print jobs. I'm not going to drop everything I'm doing on my print jobs just to do that. But if I have the free time, and hopefully here in the near future, I'm going to have the capability of doing more printing by getting a second printer. I'm not going to be getting a second A1 Mini. I'm going to be upgrading to a larger printer. It's Bamboo's newest 3D printer that they just put out. It's going to be the Bamboo H2S that I'm waiting for it to arrive. I'm knocking on wood. Hopefully there's no delays and I get it tomorrow, because I'd love to start testing this weekend and seeing how that machine works. And the cool thing is, by that time frame, I'll be running tests on the new printer and have this A1 still printing off on the side. And I'm going to be into my goal is not to start a print farm and doing 24/7 printing and a lot of the kind of stuff. I'm not in this for selling of these items. I'm not looking to making a profit or anything like that. A lot of this is solely educational for me. I just wanted to learn something different, and when I stumbled onto 3D printing, I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. And right now, it's one of those things that I was really scared into getting into 3D printing, just because I thought it was going to be very difficult to grasp, and something, I thought it was really technical, and yeah, you needed to have like, I hate to say like coding experiment and a lot of experience in operating this. But after I got this machine and figured out that you can print from an app on your phone, when I started understanding that kind of stuff, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be, it's created to be user friendly, to get to educate people on 3D printing. You can find files, so many different files that are out there. Basically, it's just like doing a Google search, where you're going to go inside there and say, hey, I need to find like me, I just put in pen, and when I put ink pen inside there, it gave me all these different designs of different type of pens. And that's how I started doing these dragon scale pens. I printed one version that was a different style than this one right here, which was a little bit thicker, I wasn't too overly impressed with the cap on it because it seemed like it was very loose on the pen when it was closed. And then I stumbled onto this print file, and when I printed it, everything just fit perfectly. There was no the cap was not loose. It snaps on perfectly. I've done tests with these pens where I just go back and just snap on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, and do it multiple times, and the things are made very good. And just to give you a sample of different ones, these are just all different samples of different pens that I had made on this printer. These ones you see, I didn't do them as multicolors. The only reason you're seeing red and green is because, and the other orange green, is because I had a mistake with the green print job that I did, and I printed it out like 3 times, and I had 3 failures on the green filament. But I had 2 parts of the green that were successes, but the tall part failed on me 3 times. So I'm gonna have to retest that green filament one more time and make sure that it's extremely dry before I try it one more time, so that I can have a successful green pen. But I just wanted to see the different color combinations I could do. But then, like, this one is just a full blue pen that I did, and a gold. This is like a gold black filament that I had, that it kind of has like a blackish tone and a gold tone to it. And this one's like a kind of like a reddish black tone, and then this one's just silver. So the one that we're printing out right now is rose gold. So, and it's the first time for me to use that rose gold, so it's going to be, as soon as I got home from work, it was sitting on my porch from Amazon. So now, as soon as I got in here, I sat down, I ran a test. For those that didn't see the test, I ran just the standard, the benchy boat test on it, just to see how it was going to fare up. I wasn't too crazy for the benchy test because it didn't come out as clean as I thought it was going to come out. Not like the other boats. These other boats, the print job was a little bit better than this one, but it successfully did the print. It did everything fine, and I think that these pens that I'm doing right now, or this one pen that I'm doing right now, is going to be okay. So we'll see how it ends up coming out. But now I'm starting to gather a fleet of benchies. So I got those ones. I got this white one right here. This is one that I messed around with a while back ago. I found a file that had this. It's a little bit smaller than the regular benchy, but it had the if anybody knows the anime One Piece, that's the One Piece symbol on the front. So it's just a silly little boat. It's nothing. Again, they're done for test purposes and stuff like that, to test out filament and to test out the printer to make sure that it's calibrated correctly. And since the print came out as it was supposed to, it may have not come out as clean as I thought it was going to come out, but I feel that it should successfully print this pen with no problems. And I'm just, again, knocking on wood that I don't run into any issues with this print job. But there is the potential. There's always the potential of something happening, and you may experience a catastrophic failure in the print. Most of the time frames, if I'm doing a print job like this, I'm not just sitting around watching it like we are right now. I'll start the print and then just step away and go do something else, and then periodically check on the status on my app to see how things are looking. And the time frames that I was doing the green pens, the dragon scale pens, the first time I didn't get any notification from the printer, but what ended up happening is that at some point in the towards the end of the it was like, I think the print was like at 80% complete when the failure happened. Two of the items on the print plate were fine. The smaller items were that those were fine, but something happened during the print job, and the taller one uh, fell over. And when it fell over, the printer thought that it was still in the same position where it was at. So it was still laying out filament like it thought it was still there. And it was just coming out like cotton candy for the most part, because it was just laying it thinking, oh, it's still there, it's still right there, and it just kept on laying the filament, filling them, and it started making a mess. And luckily I caught it early enough and was able to just stop the print and not waste a lot of filament. So the periodically checking the app just to see what the status is probably something handy to do, just to make sure that you don't have some type of failure like that. Because I checked the settings, and the settings said that it was supposed to notify me if there was what they call spaghetti, I guess spaghettiing of the filament, but it didn't do that. Um, Yeah, it looks like a copper color, but it's actually it's considered rose gold. That's what the title of it is. It's at my from what I can see, it really does look like a pink color. It doesn't look like a traditional rose gold. I thought it was gonna look like more like how rose gold really looks, but I think it's still acceptable as far as the color, and it's a silk PLA, so it's gonna have a shiny shine or sheen to it. That the material itself is just a silk PLA, so it's not PETG or anything like that. Yeah, and it's probably the lighting, the way that the camera and the lighting is can make it look a little bit different. So I can understand where it looks like, it may look like a copper color, but when you physically do see it, it's more pinkish. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if the color, how it's coming off on your end, but you can see where it's more of a pinkish color. Thank you for the likes. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. But this is the way it's actually looking. Yeah, the shine of this plastic really does make it look like metal. Yeah, I have the A1 Mini right now. This was the second printer that I purchased. My the very first printer that I bought was just it was actually a kid's 3D printer, and the only reason I bought it because I found it at Goodwill, and it was brand new in box, never opened, and I needed it for a part that I wanted to try to make. Actually, I have the part right here. This little part right here is nothing but I found the print job on a website for this is an adapter that you would put a tea light inside it to light a lantern. So I didn't want to buy the fuel canisters for it, so I ended up getting this little. Um, you know what? I thought about the Centauri carbon also. I was going through so many different type of printers in mind. The only reason I got the bamboo is because I was at Best Buy. They if you go to Best Buy, they don't have them on the floor on display or anything like that. I just asked the worker the question. I said, "Hey, does Best Buy even carry 3D printers?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we carry them, but we just don't have them on the floor." They had them in the back warehouse side of the house. So I ended up just talking with the guy about them, and then he wasn't very knowledgeable about 3D printing, but he gave me all the models that they had. So then I started doing research, and then when I started looking at the reviews of the A1 Mini, I said, you know what, I need, this is exactly what I needed. I needed a starter printer just to get me into 3D printing. And I'm not gonna, this machine is amazing. This little machine, even with the Century Carbon, you're probably gonna have, just like this one, you're gonna have successes and you're gonna have failures. It's inevitable that at some point in 3D printing, you're gonna run into a problem at some point. I don't think there really is a printer out there that's 100% that you're gonna get perfect 3D prints. I don't think there's a printer out there that exists. Not from the research that I've been doing. But my choices when I was looking originally was that I did originally start looking at Creality printers, Anycubics, Elegoo's. The only reason I got this bamboo was just because it was there at Best Buy. It was at a good price range at $250. And I didn't buy it with the AMS light system for the color, for the multicoloring. So I was gonna just do it for single color printing. And then eventually I did buy the AMS light. So I do have that available, but I do not find myself doing multicolor as much as I thought I was gonna do. A lot of my projects have been solid colors, which is a good thing because you don't waste that much filament through the constant color changing in multicolors. That's the good thing about those ones being sealed and filtered. I actually ordered the new bamboo H2S, and it's in the mail right now, so it should be coming here soon. That's going to be a sealed and filtered unit also, and it's similar to the H2D bamboo. They're basically the same printer with the only difference is that the H2S, with the S being a single nozzle, the H2D is a dual nozzle. A lot of people like the H2D, but the only complaint was that it wasn't able to utilize the entire print plate because of the double nozzle that it had. Whereas now the new H2S, which is it's cheaper than the H2D, is going to utilize the entire print plate, which is, I want to say, in millimeters, rough estimates are in the 300 millimeter range, which is fairly large print plate. So the test that I really want to test the printer is just to test a full scale Star Wars helmet, just for the fun of it, to see if I can do an entire Mandalorian type helmet on a one print. And being at that 300 millimeter size, it should do it with no problems. And because I really didn't want to have to deal with any of the slicing and doing the gluing and all that other stuff. I would really like to try to do some large projects without having to go through that. Even though I know I'm going to get to a point that I'm going to be like, we'll see what happens. Yeah, they all have their ups and downs, temper adjustments, nozzle sizes. I bought a set of different type of nozzles. I bought the 0.06 and a 0.08 nozzle, which I still have not used yet, and I really need to start using those ones because I know that they speed up the jobs a little bit. You're not going to get the detail as great with those larger nozzles, but by it laying out more filament for bigger projects is something that I need to start testing. Makerforge, I have heard of it, but I didn't do any research on that one yet. Yeah, as of right now, like, I think I got spoiled with this Bamboo A1 Mini, and I guarantee if I would have bought another type of printer, either Creality or even Anycubic, I probably would have said, you know what, I'm gonna buy another Anycubic, or I'm gonna buy, stick with that brand. I'm at some point I know I'm gonna go more than two printers, and I'll probably get another type of printer out there. Um, I just don't. To start off with, I think two is gonna be a good starting point, and then at some point, yeah, I would love to go test out some different type of printers. And I'm hoping that here in my local area in San Antonio, I'm gonna try to see if I can find some groups that may be doing 3D printing and maybe coordinate with other people here locally. Since me coming into 3D printing, I did not know one person that was doing 3D printing. Nobody I know was doing 3D printing. So for me, it's been everything I've been doing has been learning solely through uh, watching TikTok videos, YouTube videos for all my education, and hands-on with this little A1 Mini. But so far, it looks like this rose gold filament is doing a decent job. I'm knocking on wood again because I don't want to jinx myself. Because I thought that my green filament was working great, and I was praising that one also, and then come to find out it just failed on me. I was like, no. Yep. But so far, honestly, I've only been doing 3D printing for now. It's just shy of over 2 months. So I'm still really new at this, and I'm every day that I think almost every single day I have been doing printing of something, doing a test here, a project here, just to get my hands on experience with this, because I think that's what you actually really need is when you're doing this kind of stuff is learning as you go. I'm slowly learning how to look at the different settings that are out there for the ironing of the products, and the frustrating part is I've tried. I'm slowly trying to get down to adding text to some items, which was a challenge for me because I was sitting for the longest trying to get aligning things, making sure that the depth was right and all that fun stuff. But the only way I can learn is by practicing, and that's what I've been doing is practicing on the adding letters and different type of different type of wordings. I still have not figured out how to add in different type of graphic images. Like if I wanted to add a picture of a sports team or something like that, I haven't figured that stuff out, and I don't know if that's even capable on this software. I might have to get something like Orca to do stuff like that. And Orca right now for me, I think maybe a little bit very advanced for me. Um, I still have not even I know that the part of 3D printing that I'm doing is the easy part because I'm just finding files that are already in existence. The future challenge is going to be seeing if I can actually do something and actually design something on a 3D model, which I don't know if I'm ever going to get to that point. I've been able to manipulate some items, and there's been a couple of projects that I've done that which required a push button that for some reason the file that I printed didn't have it. So I ended up having to be creative, and I think I did. I think I used Orca. I think I might have used Orca to try to create a little button that I could use as a push button, which was simply a cylinder on top of a cylinder. Nothing fancy. It was just something that I can to make it activate, like to push onto an electronic device. And it took me a couple of times to get the sizing correctly and a lot of measurements. Uh, having a, I think having a caliper available is kind of like a must when you're trying to do sizing, because if you don't have one of these to be able to measure things and to get things right, then you're gonna definitely struggle. Especially when a lot of the sizing that's out there is in the millimeters, and for me, I'm not used to using millimeters. And like this right here, this I'm trying to get this in view, but this holder for drinks was, the design originally was for a 12 ounce, no, for like a size of a Monster drink, Monster can, but I wanted to scale the size of it a little bit larger to fit a glass bottle of a juice bottle that I normally drink. And unfortunately, the bottle that I had, the glass bottle, was just a little bit bigger than a Monster can. So I sat and I got the caliper out, I sized the bottle, and just checking everything, that making sure the sizes were right, and everything came out perfect. And that was the thing, was measurements. Yeah, the color that's on the print plate right now is that's a silk PLA rose gold. It's the first time for me to be using this. It just came in the mail today through Amazon, and I wanted to run a test on this. I ran a test on this, the initial test on the boat, the Benchy boat, which came out okay. It wasn't the perfect print. There was a lot of little issues that went with the print, but for me it was a pass as far as the print itself. So once I did the Benchy, then I said, you know what, I'm going to do my dragon scale pen that I've been doing. And the dragon scale pens basically look like this. They're just ink pens that come in 3 different pieces, and then all you gotta do is just buy these refill ink cartridges that are for the size of the ink cartridge that it requires is for an arrow pen, the G2 series. And if you were to search that on Amazon, you'll be able to buy like a box full of equivalent ink cartridges, which I bought this box right here. And basically these fit in the pens perfectly with no issues. So for gifts, this design is like perfect to print and just to hand out as gifts for friends and stuff like that, and family and co-workers. What I'll do is with this rose gold one, I'll take with me to work tomorrow, because I do have a co-worker that she has a lot of rose gold stuff on her desk. So I'm gonna definitely show her this pen if it's successful, and if she likes it, basically it's gonna be hers. I'm not selling these. I don't sell everything that I make on this 3D printer. I'm not out to look for a profit in selling this stuff. It's been basically the people that have been benefiting off of everything that I've been doing have been family, friends, and co-workers for the most part. And for me, it's all about the education. That's what I'm looking for. Are you talking about the brand of the filament that I bought? Let me see if I can get that box real quick. So I don't know if you can see this, but this was the brand that I bought off of Amazon. It's a Ziro, Z-I-R-O, and this one was the PLA Silky Rose Gold. And honestly, I don't think I paid that much for it. I think I still have it in my orders. Let me check real quick and see how much I paid for that. And let's see. Okay, where's it at? Okay, so for this rose gold, come on. I paid 18, it was 18.89 for the silk rose gold filament. So just shy of $20. Again, a full roll of this is going to go a long way, and I think at that price point, at $18, that's not that bad. I have bought other type of filaments for cheaper. The cheapest one I think I've ever bought filament was probably about $12.99 on Amazon. And every now and then when I look it up, even though I've only been doing this for a short period of time, for about 2 months, but when I go out to Amazon, I'm always looking at their deals to see what kind of deals they have out there on filament. And again, the Bamboo offers their brand of filament that if you buy one roll, it's going to be at the standard price, which is a little pricey. But if you buy it like 4 rolls, then they give you like a discount on the pricing. So the more rolls you buy through Bamboo, they're going to be cheaper. Now they don't have the great amount of colors. They do have a lot of colors out there and a bunch of different type of filaments that are out there. But if you're looking for a specific type of filament, you're gonna have to get it from a third-party company. Yeah, yeah. The silk PLA that I've been experimenting with. Honestly, I do love the quality of it. It definitely gives a good shine. I did do one of these flexible dragons, and the flexible dragon I did in shiny gold. It was like a gold black filament that they had, and this was like honestly one of the first items that I ever printed. And I printed 2 of these ones, one that I kept for myself and the other one I gave to my niece. But I've done tests like this. I've done little tests like these little ghosts that look like crochet patterns, which you could put on top of an electric tea light, and it just becomes like a little lantern. So these are cool little projects that I worked on. The most recent ones that I've done were, I did this flower pot that basically it's a self-watering flower pot where when you fill it up with water, that this will go up, and as it goes down, then you know that it's needs more water. And you had to print it in different print plates. So I had to print the white one first, and then on the second print plate, then I put the black inserts to that. But I like the design. The design was very nice. And I also did a bigger one, which I don't remember where I have it right here. I also did this pot right here, which is a lot bigger. That's also self-watering, and you can see the holes in the inside at the bottom. And then there's the ring at the bottom where if you put too much water, it's going to spill over the edge of it. And it's just one of those nice designs that I liked. There's so many designs out there also that when you go out there looking. Yeah, I think I had success with this one, Sassy Redhead, and I think that now that you're able to see that I'm going through a good right now, knock on wood, a successful print on this one, I think you'll probably have the same experiences. They also, when I ordered that one, they actually sent a couple of samples in the inside there. They sent this 3D 3D cleaning filament, and I didn't know that they had cleaning filaments out there, but they gave you just a little bit of a sample of their cleaning filament, and then they also provided another one which was a sample of a color that they call Dawn Whisper. It's a gradient matte PLA, which I'm gonna I'll probably run a benchy test on this one just to see how that filament comes out. And this is the first time that I noticed that a company actually adds a reusable dry bag, so that you can, after I'm done with this rose gold one, I can just toss it back inside there with a silica pack and hopefully keep that filament dry. So that was actually pretty cool. I didn't expect to see that inside the box. When I opened it, I was like, what's this extra stuff that's inside there? Because typically normally it's going to be just the filament in a bag with maybe one silica pack inside there. But to see a little sample pack, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, but $18 I think for the price for the silky rose is not too bad. They did have some other colors that I was interested in that I might check in. They had one that was a silky gold that was a little bit cheaper at $16.79, and then they have a fluorescent orange that I thought about getting too, but now that I have this company saved on my favorites, that I can go there anytime and basically check out their other products. But as far as the filament that I've been using, I haven't been scared about using other type of companies. I would rather test filaments and see how things work from a different companies, because just because a company makes a PLA that's like $26 and it's a name brand type thing, doesn't mean that the companies that are out there making the cheaper stuff can't make the same equivalent quality. The one thing I have run into problems. No, this is not metal. It's a shiny plastic. It's a PLA silky a silk plastic. It's basically the actual term is silk PLA, and silk PLA has a shiny sheen to it. Yeah, this one is somebody said earlier that it looks like it's a copper color, but it's actually rose gold. And I'm gonna try to, let me get the sample again. This is the sample color. You can see it a little bit better when it's close up. And this is the first time for me to use this color. I was just curious. I'm trying to start a collection of different colors of filament just so that I have them on hand for future projects. And since this one just came in today in the mail, I was like, you know what, let me test this one out. And then after I run this test, which has still got a while to go, this is still going to be another hour and 20 minutes till these pens are finished. I have another filament that I got was it was kind of like it's a matte light, it's like a light brown tan color. Let's see, what's the question? This pen right here was basically a file that was provided by on the Bamboo Studio, basically on their app. You can get on your phone. There's a Bamboo Handy app that connects wirelessly to the printer itself, and on your computer you can download the Bamboo Studio software that basically also connects you to a library of different type of products that are out there that people have designed, and they put them out there for people just to basically download to their printer and start printing. This one, the proper term of this one was, if you were on the Bamboo site, or you can also go to the Maker's World. Makersworld.com is the is the other site that that they manage also, and basically you have all these different type of projects that are put out there on that site. But the name of this one is Seamless Sharp Dragon Scale Pen for Pilot G2. The basically it's using the Pilot G2 pen refills. So all you have to do is just go to Amazon and buy a box of refill pen, pink ink or the ink cartridges for the G2 model pen, and they basically fit into this model with no problem. And if you didn't see these ones, these are the pens that I'm talking about, the actual full pen. So once it's finalized, this is what the print job is going to look like, and the caps snap on with no problems. This is just a different color. It's like a gold black, and again, the caps don't come off. The pen screws on just like other store-bought pens, where you just put the ink cartridges inside it, you screw the top on like that, and then you snap on the cap, and boom, you got a pen. Easy peasy. And I appreciate everybody for the likes and for the gifts. I definitely do appreciate it. I know I'm probably a little bit late on sending my thanks, but thank you very much. I do appreciate it. No, this is not. It's not metal. This is basically it's called a silk PLA plastic. This is a rose gold color, and it's basically the way that it's shiny. The way that it shines, it really does look like metal. And I'm actually really impressed with this rose gold color. I wasn't really too sure how it was going to come out. And again, I wanted to test a different type of color, a different type of material, just to see how it comes out. I have a lot of the other standard colors, the reds, the blues, all sorts of stuff, but I didn't have anything in this type of a color, like a pinkish type color. So I definitely wanted to test this, just because, you know, these may be a future filament that I use for gifts that I may give to my sister or my niece. And I would rather give them the more feminine type colors than the dark black colors, and you know, just the average blues and reds and stuff like that. By having something that looks a little bit classier in this type of a color is a great option to have. And again, this is a test, so this is the very first time, or well, not the first time, but the second print that I'm doing with this color. The first one being my standard benchy test. I haven't done the benchy test religiously with all my filaments. I've only done it with certain colors, and I kind of started wanting to introduce my benchy test just so that I can start keeping a track of the different filaments that I'm using, because the more filaments you buy and the more projects that you start printing on, it's going to be confusing to figure out, okay, where did I buy this one from, or where did, you know, which was this one, which was that one. So I'm going to try to start cataloging my colors and the brands that I'm buying, just so that I can start saying, okay, yeah, this is a good one, you know, to stick with, or this is a bad one, don't ever buy this one again. And I have experimented with some other filaments that I have not had really success with. There's been a PLA wood type that, for some reason, on this A1 Mini, I haven't had success on it. But I think the problem with that was that I needed to dry the filament a lot more, and that was the problem. Is that for some reason the extruder wasn't accepting it, because it might have been too moist. So I bought myself an external dry box, which I have actually on right now. It's been on for the last couple of hours, drying that wood PLA, but I don't think I'm gonna even get to using it tonight. So I'm just gonna keep it drying right now. It's still got 20 more minutes to on the dryer. So what I'll do is I'll probably kick it off for another 2 hours and let it let it work, do its magic. And then at some point here in the near future, I really want to try that wood PLA to see how it comes out. I have a feeling it's going to come out like this matte PLA that I bought also, and I'm kind of excited to test that out after this print job. So in about an hour, I think roughly about an hour when this is finished, then I can transition into running a benchy test on that other filament color, and then maybe I may not run a dragon scale pen test on that brown matte, the light brown matte PLA that I have. I really want to test another project that a friend of mine sent me a request for, that he was curious if I was able to print out the I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with on the movie The Fifth Element. They had those the stones on The Fifth Element, the 4 stones that indicated wind, water, and fire, and earth, I think was the other one. Well, he asked me if there was any files out there that were able to be printed of those stones, and I went out and searched, and I did find them. There were some files out there, but size-wise, for the actual size, the movie accurate size, I don't think my printer's big enough for it to do that print job. But I would like to do a test to see how it looks on different material that's similar to a stone look. I think the only problem I would have in making it look really nice is the distressed look of how an actually stone would look. But again, if I was to go to Hobby Lobby, I guarantee you, if I went to Hobby Lobby, I'd find the appropriate material to distress a solid color to make it look a little bit older. So I just want to run some tests. Me personally, I've never been the arts and craft type of person. So getting into 3D printing, I'm starting to learn a lot of these little things. I'm learning about glue sticks. I'm learning about gluing things together, all this other stuff, painting of items. So this has just been a pretty interesting process so far. Let me try to get some of these comments. I think I've missed a couple. It said, what type of printer is it? Oh, I am using a Bamboo Labs A1 Mini. If you're still logged on, I apologize for just getting to your text. But yeah, this is it's called a Bamboo A1 Mini. Bamboo Labs makes a bunch of different types of 3D printers, and this one specifically, thank you so much for the likes. I definitely appreciate it. This printer right here is basically their I want to say their lowest price point printer and their smallest printer. It's really not that it's not that big, but I guarantee you this thing can do so many different type of print jobs that you need. I want to say out of all the files that are out there, this can probably do about, I want to say maybe 80 to 90% of the print files that are out there. Once you start getting into bigger print jobs, yeah, you're gonna start wishing you had a bigger printer. But for projects like this, doing a pen like this, oh, this is just the perfect size printer. Plus, you can take this anywhere. It's a very compact size. This handle that's up here doesn't come with it, but I 3D printed it on this printer, and just basically removed the original screws that were on here, took off a cap that was on the top. This design fit right on top of the printer. I was able to rescrew it. So at any time frame, if I had to move this with me, say take it to the office, take it to a friend's house or whatever, it's the size of this printer is very very user friendly as far as portability and stuff like that. Whereas if you start getting into the bigger printers, then you're going to start experiencing the mobility part of the printing is going to be a tough thing to deal with. But the very first printer that I actually ever tested, and I've only been doing this for about 2 months, was it was called a Cantu3D. What was it? A Cantu3D A1 or something like that. It's a very small, little, tiny printer, which was designed for. It was designed as probably a children's 3D printer. I'm not going to knock that printer at all, because the printer does what it's supposed to do. It's a no kidding 3D printer. It uses filament just like this printer does. It prints what it's supposed to do, but the printing area is tiny. It's very tiny. You only can print very small items. What else? It's super slow. Extremely slow. It takes forever. Like this pen that we're doing right now would not fit on this printer because it's too tall for it. And this pen takes about 2 hours to print, whereas if you were to print it on that Cantu3D printer, would probably take it 24 hours to print, because that's how slow that machine was. But it's a legit 3D printer and it works. And I think its whole purpose was designed to educate children on 3D printing, and it doesn't have any external ways to upload files onto it, and its only drawback is that it's solely operated on an app that I came to find out constantly had issues. It was either down and you couldn't log onto it, and when you couldn't log onto it, you could not print anything. So basically it became a paperweight at that time frame. So what I ended up doing is, after running my first test on that Cantu3D, I was like, okay, now I got my hands-on experience on a 3D printer. I wouldn't say a real production type printer, but it was a printer that got me experience in saying, okay, this is what 3D printing is. And the final product came out great. It did print out what it was supposed to print out, but it was just super small. I think what it could do is, at the size, it could probably print a benchy, and it did print a benchy with no problems. But it took forever to actually print the benchy. But Cantu3D, they do make different type of printer or 3D printers, and the only reason I got into that printer was because I stumbled onto it at a local Goodwill, and it was brand new in box. So I was able to pick up not only the printer, but whoever received it as a gift never opened it, and there was also an extra filament cartridge that was there. And that was another thing, is that it had its own you had to buy their specific filament cartridge, because it was on a very small spool inside its own container. So if I had to refill it, I would have had to purchase a larger filament roll to fill into this small roll, which was I still have the printer And eventually it's going to be one of those ones that I'll probably redonate to Goodwill and let somebody else experiment with it. But it got me into 3D printing. And when I got into really doing all my research, while I had that Kakoni, I started doing so much research on YouTube and watching TikTok videos of individuals that were live streaming with their Creality type printers, and I just started saying, okay, what's out there? You know, let me find out how much information I can learn about 3D printing. So again, there's a lot of material that's out there in reference to this stuff, but I didn't know where I didn't know what exactly I wanted to get. I got to a point that I started recognizing names of printers just by watching videos, and the ones that popped up constantly were Elegoo and Creality. Then I started seeing some for Anycubic that started popping up. What were the other ones? I'm trying to remember the other companies that I was watching videos in reference to. I forget. But Bamboo was not on my radar. I had not run into any videos in reference to Bamboo Labs, and when I was at my local Best Buy talking to the employee about 3D printers, which I didn't know that they carried at Best Buy. If you were to go to Best Buy, you're probably gonna, if you were walking around the store, you're not gonna find the 3D printers out on display. They don't have the 3D printers out on display. Go to their website and you'll be able to see what your local Best Buy has on inventory at the store. I didn't do that. I actually went into the store not knowing. When I went into Best Buy, I didn't go in for the purpose of looking for a 3D printer. I was just walking around, and I struck up a conversation with one of the employees, and I asked the question, does Best Buy carry 3D printers? And by chance he said yes, and they do have them. And then he started giving me the names and started telling me what exactly they had. So after the conversation I had with him, I took that information. I was walking around the store and I started pulling up the different printers' informations on my phone. And then I stumbled into reading about the Bamboo A1 series, and I started looking at reviews and all that other kind of stuff, and people were saying that the A1 series is a great starter printer. It's good for anybody that's experienced with 3D printing and those that are entering into 3D printing. But they have two different models of the A1. They have the A1 itself, which is bigger than this one, and then the A1 Mini. I didn't know which one I really wanted, but there was a price difference in the printers. The bigger they get, the more expensive they're going to get. The Bamboo Mini itself, at my local Best Buy, roughly about a month ago, was about, I think it was about $250 is what I paid for this printer. So at $250, I know for me, it was considered, I had the extra cash to be able to buy it. I know for some individuals it might be out of their price range. I would probably suggest maybe save up for it. But at $250, honestly, it really is a good starting point for 3D printers. So I went back to the gentleman. I said, you know what? I think I am, based on the reviews that I saw and everything I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'd like to buy the A1 Mini. And at the same time frame, I bought the 2 cartridges of filament, or 2 spools of filament that they had on stock, which was just standard red and red and black is what I bought. I brought the printer home. The box wasn't that big. It was a decent sized box, very well packed. Um, the great thing about this printer is that basically once you unpacked it, there's a couple of little items you got to take care of on the printer. As far as pre-setup, a couple of hoses you got to connect onto it for the filament to these hoses right here. On this one, you're seeing that there's 5 different cables. One's a power cable, and then the other 4 are filament cables. When you buy the standard one, it's only gonna have one of these tubes that carries the filament. I have 4 inside here because at the time that I bought the printer, I did not buy it as a combo with the color this AMS Light color management system. I ended up buying the just the standard printer, which came with the adapter to hold the 4 filaments tubes inside there, but it only came with 1 tube and a bracket that held the spool on the back of the on the printer. So a very simple design, nothing fancy. Um, I there's the learning of the parts and everything was very straightforward. It has a very user-friendly interface that's here on the bottom. This little screen here that gives you a lot of information that's like right now during the print job, it's telling me that it's 56% accomplished, and we still have 57 minutes left on the print job. There's a total of 539 lines of cycles that it has to do to complete the entire print job, and it's only at line 265 right now. So for every level that it's doing a layer, it has to get up to 539 to complete the job. There's also on here, if you can see, temperature, it's in Celsius. So it's telling me that the extruder that's actually pushing out the plastic is at 230 Celsius, and the actual bed itself is at 60 Celsius, which is hot. So at the touch, if you tap it, yeah, you're not going to burn yourself, but if you kept your fingers on it for a little bit of time, yeah, you're going to burn yourself. So you definitely have to be careful with this, with children and with pets, to make sure that they don't get hurt with this machine, because this bamboo printer does not come in an enclosure like this. I bought this enclosure for the sole purpose of making sure that when I'm not at the house and I'm starting a print job, that my cats don't accidentally jump up here and hurt themselves with the printer. So if you don't have animals at your house, then you technically do not need the enclosure. But me personally, I like the enclosure because I'm able to get more light inside the box so that my time lapse can take better photos. And I also have a setup here for a YouTube video that I have my camera on right now, and I probably messed up my view by hitting it by mistake. I better check my video real quick, because I've been concentrating more on TikTok right now than I have on my YouTube video. There we go. Okay, I just moved it to the right zone. But going back to the printer itself, on here, what you also have is a bunch of different settings inside your thing. You have your filament control area where you can manage your filaments. Your standard controls where you're seeing the basic information as far as nozzles, temperatures, and all that other kind of stuff. I won't mess with this stuff while it's in during printing. I'll only mess with that when it's not doing an actual print job. Then you got your settings, where this is where you'll set up your account, your Wi-Fi connections, and all that kind of stuff. And you'll also do your maintenance. There's camera options and your firmware updates when required. There is some simple maintenance that you have to do on these machines. These rails that are here down on the bottom where my finger's showing, there's rails that are on the bottom that require occasional lubricant to be put on it. So it does come with a sample amount of oil that you can place on a couple of drops, and then just making sure that it gets properly spread onto the rail, so that the bed can come back and forth with no problems. And then occasionally I'll put some up here on the top where the printer head is going up and down. So those are just some simple, just minor things you got to do. There are some other things that you would have to do with the printer. Right in this area is where the print head is. It has a silicone safety cover that's on it, but behind that is the actual the heating element, and those are items that can be simply taken out and swapped out with different ones if you needed to. So if the one that I have inside there right now is a 0.4 is a 0.04 millimeter nozzle, which is standard that comes onto the printer. But if you were to go to a 0.02, that is a smaller nozzle, which will extend your print jobs a lot longer, because it's not putting out as much filament as like this nozzle is doing. But if you're doing smaller 3D prints that needed better details, that's when you would want to use the 0.02. So if you're into making models like for Dungeons and Dragon or Warhammer and stuff like that, you would probably want to be using a 0.02 nozzle for those type of little models that you would be printing. Any other print jobs, standard stuff, I think 0.04 is a good one to be using. And I have two different ones also, a 0.06 and a 0.08. With those ones, it'll be pushing out more filament, so your print jobs are going to go quicker, but you may lose some detail as far as when you're doing your prints. So that's stuff that I've been learning. As of right now, I've only changed the nozzle once, but it was only a 0.04 to a 0.04, only because I thought I messed up the nozzle by putting a filament inside there, which was called a marble filament. When I felt the filament, it felt a little bit gritty on the outside, and I want to say that it was too abrasive for the nozzle, because after I used it, the print didn't come out that great. I immediately took the filament out and put in my other filament. This is when I didn't have the AMS light for multicolor. And then what I ended up doing was I put in a regular PLA plastic and kicked off the print job, and nothing but back-to-back failures on the printing. And the only thing I could chalk it down to was that I used that marble PLA, and I may have damaged the nozzle. But the more research that I'd done, I think what ended up happening was that I did not dry the filament as good as it should have been, because I didn't dry it at all. I basically took it out of its bag, put it right on the printer, and went straight to printing. So I don't know how dry that filament actually was. So that's the potential of what went wrong with it. I saved the filament because I wasn't going to get rid of it, because I figured at some point in the future I would either get a new printer and I would test it on a new printer to see how it works, or I would just give it another try on this one once I properly dried it. Now that I have a dry box, what I can do is I can use that dry box to heat up the filament, dry it out, and then I'm gonna have to redo my setup here, because I may have to disconnect the AMS light, and so that I can introduce a separate hose or pipe through one of these other areas to be able to come inside here. And I want to print directly out of the dry box, so that everything that's coming into the printer is completely dry, to see how it changes the effect. So it might work, it might not work, but again, it's all about experimenting. That's what 3D printing is basically about. And again, thank you everybody for definitely stopping by and spending time. If you've been here almost this entire print job, I definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much. I know for most people you may be still logged on, but you may have walked off and are doing other stuff and then coming back and checking. Still, I definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I do appreciate those individuals that have been leaving likes. Those definitely do help me out as far as with the TikTok algorithm, to get more people into the room. Earlier we saw a big influx of people that were in here for a while, and then all of a sudden it just went down. But that's the day in the life of doing live streams on TikTok. You get people that come in for a while, or you may get somebody to come in for a couple of seconds. You just don't know what you're gonna get. Just like right now, we lost another one. We're down to 4 people. No. But it's all good. But yeah, this so far everything is looking fine on this print job. I'm actually really liking the way that this silk PLA is coming out in this rose gold. It's in my eyes, it looks like just a silky pink color. Not as rose goldish as I would actually think real rose gold looks like, but close enough. And just like other people have been looking at when they come into the room asking the question, is that metal? Nope. It's not metal. It's just the way that the shine of the plastic is for this specific plastic. And you'll get some plastic that's a matte color that really is it has a real good matte color. Especially when you're starting to look at the ones that, if you're doing a project like you wanted to do something that looks like a terracotta pot. Well, they sell the terracotta color in a matte color type filament. So you could basically print out a flower pot that looks like terracotta, but in plastic. Which is pretty cool. And plus, you still probably can go to Lowe's and buy yourself a plastic terracotta pot if you at any given time frame. But just an example, if you hadn't started with me from the start of this video or this live stream, when getting into the specs of this print job, and I'll go over it real quick. A standard spool of filament is about, in kilograms, about 1 kilogram of filament on a spool. So the total amount of filament that's being used on this print job just for these pens is only 16.34 grams of filament, of that spool of filament, which is not a lot. I'm after these pens, I still probably can do with this same color. I don't even know how many more pens of this. Definitely a lot more pens. The estimated cost of the filament that's being used what the system is just given an estimate is about 49 cents of plastic that's being used to make this pen, which is not a lot. So basically, in reality, if you put, like, if you were planning on doing sales, and your goal was to sell these pens at a market, and to put together this pen, you already know that you're going to be spending 49 cents worth of plastic to print just one pen. The ink cartridges themselves, I don't recall how much it was for the box that I had bought. It'd probably take me forever to find the order that I originally bought it for. I'll try to do it real quick and see what we can. We'll see if I can find it. But you'd look at the cost part and say, okay, I gotta buy a box of refills of pens, ink, which may not be that much, and then you'll go, okay, to put this all together may cost less than $1 a pen. So if I was to go to a trade show or a farmer's market and set up a booth and put these out for display for selling, the question is, how much would I sell this for? If I went the cheap route and said I will put this out there for $5 a pen, and the total price for everything that went into the one pen was less than $1, well, geez, I'm gonna make like a $4 profit on that. But you go to some of these trade shows or Comic-Cons and all this other kind of stuff, this probably pen, they might be selling for $10, $15, maybe even $20 based on the type of filament that they used. If it was a matte color or a standard color, it'd probably go for a lower price. But if you get something shiny like this one, that's a rose gold, they may do a premium price on it. So if you were to sell this stuff, yeah, I could see now where the profit margin is pretty good on a sale. But the thing is you have to wait for those time frames to be able to sell it. So if you don't have farmers markets or conventions that are on a constant basis in your area, then you might have challenges going out and doing your sales. You could go to Etsy and sell stuff online, but you also got a lot of competition that's out on those platforms that are selling possibly the exact same thing that you're selling. So then you're gonna have to start trying to figure out, am I gonna take a loss, or am I gonna take have to knock my price a lot lower to be able to get those sales? So if you're into this 3D printing for the purpose of making money, could you? Yes, you could. Now, you also get into the point of licensing of the designs. You're going to find models that are out there that say that that they trademark their design, that they don't want it to be out there for resale. They can put it out there so that you can print it for your own purpose, your own your own use, not for resale. Are they going to be able to police that? And if that person is from the UK and designed it and they put that type of a statement out there, you're in the United States, how are they going to control you from not selling it? Or do they even know that me, myself, a nobody, is out at a farmer's market at a local church event selling this design pen? So it's hard for anybody to stop that kind of stuff to happen. You would really have to be out there on a big platform and have a lot of followers and a lot of that kind of stuff before you're going to be to the point that someone's going to catch you and say, oh, you know what, you're using my design, and I'm now suing you. But is there the potential of something like that probably happening? There is a potential. The chances of it are probably going to be very, 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 very extremely rare. Because you go to any of those type of events where you go like a trade show or a farmer's market and you see somebody that has a booth that's selling 3D printed products. For example, this Flexi Dragon, and Flexi Dragons are, these flexible dragons are a popular thing that you see at those type of places. And when you're going to go there to buy it, you're probably going to be paying a pretty good penny for them. I know I talked to my sister about it, and she said that she had bought my niece like a smaller version of those Flexi Dragons, and I want to say that she paid like $20 for it. When I see on my side the amount of cost that the plastic was that for printing it was not that much, but then again, the time that it took to print can also be put into consideration, because a Flexi Dragon like that, I want to say took about 8 or 9 hours to print, because there's so many little things that it has to do for that print job. And just an example, like this pen that's been printing right now, it was scheduled for about 2 hours to print. So you also have to put your time that you spent printing the project and all that kind of stuff when you need to come back and say, okay, this is why I feel that it costs $20 for something like that. Like this pen, for the 2 hours that I spent on this, the $1 or so it's going to cost in product itself to put it together. If I came back and said, I feel that 2 hours that I used, the amount of plastic from the roll that I bought cost this much money, and I feel I want a profit margin of $4 because I want to sell this pen for $5. Well, that's my right to say that, I guess. And again, I'm not into 3D printing for the purpose of selling items. I have not sold an item yet, and I don't plan on selling an item anytime soon. Will that change? It could in the near future. I might at some point say, I might get a request from a friend or somebody says, hey, I need, can you print me 10 of those pens for a party that I'm having and blah, blah, blah. Well, if I get to the point that I'm figuring out that people are taking advantage of my kindness as far as my gifts that I'm giving out, and they're expecting me to punch out all this stuff for free, at that point, I would probably start changing my mentality and saying, you know what, yeah, I could do that for you, but it's going to cost about this much. Then at that point, I might start adding a price point on something. But I don't think I'd be going to like church fairs or farmers markets and setting up a booth to actually do that. But again, that could change. You never know. I might get that mode where I say, you know what, let me give that a test. But me, honestly, I don't like going out and doing that kind of stuff, like selling stuff. I don't like to do garage sales, so that's going to tell you right there that I'm not the type that's going to be out there wanting to set up a market for selling things. Now, if I had somebody that went with me, like my sister or my niece or something like that, or my nephew, and they wanted to sit there and do the sales and all that kind of stuff, and I give them a percentage of whatever we make, I could probably do that. And Amanda, if you're listening, I don't know if you're on here right now, but if you are interested in managing a sale, just let me know and I'll let you do all that. I'll do the printing, I'll let you do all the selling then. Let me see, what am I printing? I'm printing, it's a dragon scale pen, an ink pen. They basically are, the end product is basically going to be like this. It's you can basically just fill it with these G2 pen refills, You can get them on Amazon in bulk, and basically once you get them in different colors, black, blue, red, whatever the ink that you want to get, and then you put together a pen, a writing pen. And almost for every filament that I've been using so far, I've ran a test on this design as part of the filament that I have, and I sit back. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this actual color right here is a rose gold silk PLA, so it has a shiny look to it. It kind of looks like a metallic look to it, which is pretty cool. But I tried to, at least for every filament that I have, I want to try to do a dragon scale pen in that color. So in the future, I might have a stockpile of a whole bunch of pens. This is just, I have more at my office at where I work at, but these are just other pens that I have here at the house, just sitting here right now. And they're cool projects to work on. Like I said, with this rose gold silk PLA, eventually I may have to look for another project that I can utilize this filament with, so that I can make maybe a gift for my sister, my mom, my niece, or something like that. I'll be able to use a nice little color like that. Or I might get a coworker that might ask if I can print something specific in this color, and I say, oh yeah, I got it. So I do have one coworker that does like that has a lot of rose gold stuff on her desk, as far as, like, pens, little pen holders and stuff like that in rose gold that she has her. I figured this would be a nice little thing to show her, and if she says that she likes it and she would want one of these pins printed, I would just give her the one right here. And then again, to reprint this, it's only going to take me about 2 hours to do another print job with this, so it's not like it's going to be that difficult to ever create another pin. I have plenty of the plastic here to be able to do it, so that's a good thing. But I'm trying to remember how much I paid for my box of the box of pen refills, and I'm trying to go through my Amazon right now, my Amazon account, to see how much I paid for it. But the Amazon site is not working the way it's supposed to. It just keeps on still loading, and I know I have a good internet connection. Okay, there we go. Now I found it. Refill. Let's see if they can find it. Because I don't remember exactly when I bought the box. Oh, here it is. I found it. Oh my gosh, I bought this back in 2020. I didn't realize it was that long ago that I bought this. So, as of today, to buy the refills for one of these pens, they come in a box similar to this. This is a 0.7 millimeter ink cartridge, and I don't know how many total come inside this box, but let's see what it says. It's a box of 12. So there's 12 ink refills inside the box, and the black color, which what I have right now, cost $9.39. So right there, that's not bad. That's not a bad price at all. $9.39. That would be 78 cents an ink cartridge per pen, plus the The total cost of the amount of plastic that's being used is estimated to be 49 cents. So each pen that I create in total costs $1.27 a pen. So at that point, if I was to say, if I was in this for the purpose of selling these pens, now I know, okay, this is how much it cost me to build this specific pen. And now that's not including the electricity that I use right now to that's printing this. That could be a factor in the additional cost of this $1.27. It takes 2 hours to print this actual pen, so I'm not actually spending 2 hours. Well, right now I'm spending 2 hours behind the camera actually watching this entire thing, but on a typical print I would not be here for the full 2 hours just watching this. I would be out doing other things and just letting it do its thing. So you could see right there, even if I was to sell this pen and I decided to sell it and I set up a booth and said, I'm just doing nothing but selling these dragon scale pens. That's all I have, and I'm selling them for $5 a piece. So right there, I'm actually making a really decent profit on this, because you figure if it's only right now $1.27 a pen, and I'm selling for $5, and if you were to go to potentially a Comic-Con or a farmer's market and you saw somebody with a booth that had it set up, and if you're out, and one of you that are watching this right now, if you actually do go out and sell this stuff, and you know what, this is the honest truth, but you're making a really good profit on some of this stuff, especially if I was being nice in talking and saying that if I was to do this and sell it at $5, I would be making, $4 in profit for the most part. So at a Comic-Con, this same pen, I would probably estimate somebody would probably have it out there, maybe selling it for $10, maybe even $15. So they're definitely going to be making their money back on just selling one of these, if they do get a buyer. That's the key thing, is you have to have that person that's going to be out there buying this stuff. And if I could be sitting there for an entire day and maybe only get 2 people to come and buy something, but if I was selling these at a great price, and say if I had them for $10 and $15 and I noticed that nobody's buying them, well, maybe I need to change my price. If I changed it to $5 and then I started seeing more people buying them at $5, I'm still going to be making a profit, even though it costs $1.27 in materials to generate one of these pens. So that's just food for thought. I sit there and I'm not going to be going out there selling these things, but I like to do the research, the additional stuff, and say, oh, okay, so this is what the potential is. So as this print was going on, I just noticed it has already finished the first piece, the one that's up in the front. So it's no longer working on that print job, and it is getting close to finishing the part that's off on the left. It only has I think it's working on the last few layers of the second part, and then once it's finished that, it's going to be working on the one part on the right. And the one part on the right is going to be definitely a little bit taller, so it still has a little bit more ways to go, but the first 2 parts are basically going to be done here in a few seconds. And we, on a clockwise, time-wise, what we still have left on here is, oops, on the wrong screen. We still have about 24 minutes left until this print job is complete. And the crazy thing is that I came home right from work. I immediately came inside the house with the bringing in the Amazon package. I opened up the Amazon package. I saw that it was this PLA in the first package, and hooked it up. Then I hooked up the other one that I had inside here too. Sat down, started up my computers, and opened up my live streams. And I'm still in my work clothes. I have not even gone to change. And pretty soon here, my cats are probably going to start crying because I have not gave them their evening food yet. Something that they should have gotten by now. Okay, so I think it just finished. Nope, it's almost finished that the part on the left. And I think now it is working solely on that part on the right. And this is the time frames. I'm at 82%, and around when my green filament that I was doing the same pen design, around this time frame is when the part on the right failed. Something happened during the print job and it fell over, and it tipped over just a tad bit. And once it tipped just a little bit, it misaligned the printer, and the printer thought it was still in the same position as what it was, and it just kept on going layer after layer of printing as normal, thinking that the part was right there, which it wasn't. So I ended up having a lot of filament just spewing all over the place. And this is where I kind of get a little bit nervous, because I don't like going through like a print job and right now 83%, to have it fail at this point, because then when it does that in the 3D printing world, and I'm still new to the 3D printing world, for me and all the research that I've been doing, I understand the high possibility of a failure. So by already pre-knowing that there's a potential to have a failure like that happen, I'm already to a point that if it was to happen, I'll be upset. I'll be a little frustrated, but I'm not gonna be like sitting here angry, cursing up a storm or anything like that. It's just, I already know that it's a failure is bound to happen at some point, and I just don't know when it's gonna happen. It's just they just happen at randomness. And I guarantee a lot of other 3D people or printers that are printing out there, those individuals that are 3D printing, they'll probably tell you the same stories, that they thought everything was working fine, it looks like the projects were working fine, and then just something happened. They can't explain what exactly happened, but a failure just occurs at random time frames. So if you're interested in 3D printing, just be aware of that. You're gonna have successes. You'll have a lot of successes, but you will also have your share of failures. And just take them as they are, learning experiences. What you may want to do is then start thinking to yourself, okay, was my filament dry enough? Was it exposed to too much humidity? Should I should I invest in getting a filament dry box to maybe dry ahead of time the filament before I start the print job? If I know that my print job is going to be taking 6, 7, 8 hours or even longer, maybe I want to print directly out of my dry box and keep that dry box on during the entire print job. Those are just little things that you start, I guess, learning this stuff as you progress in understanding 3D printing. And I'm still at a point right now that I can navigate around this. I know a lot of little things to what to do. I know about the little bit the easy parts of the maintenance parts of how to take care of the machine, how to do everything like that. Design wise, design, I am still far away from getting to that point. To design something like this, I don't know if I'll ever get to that knowledge base as far as doing something like, or making an idea of getting a design and trying to figure it out. No, I'm going to start in little baby steps, maybe doing little projects and trying to do simple things. But as far as highly detailed 3D models and stuff like that, unless I get the assistance from something like AI or hiring somebody that knows how to do this and say, this is what my vision is, can you make my vision come into a 3D world for 3D printing? I will just have to rely on other people's knowledge and expertise in providing these type of files that are out there. And one thing I think, and this is something that I just learned as I'm going through anything in life, like we go to websites like Amazon, and one thing that many people do prior to making a purchase is, okay, let me see what the reviews are. Let me see how many stars does it have. Can I entrust that the reviews are good? They're not AI generated and all those other things. So you ask all these questions and you do your research. You're going to do the same thing with these files. When you go out to these websites that provide some of these files, you're going to find a lot of free files that you can just download and start printing your stuff. You'll find some that you may have to pay for the file. That it may not be a lot. It might be like $2 for the file, or $5 for a file. And then you have access to be able to print whatever you want off that file by paying whoever designed it. But if you have the free files and stuff like that, the key thing is that if the site provides user feedback from the printing community that's out there, and they put their comments out there and they say, hey, yeah, this was a great print job, it came out great, I had no issues, and blah blah blah, and you start looking at the ratings and you start saying, okay, well, this one has a lot of people that are talking positive about it, and there's a lot of people that are downloading this specific file. So by doing that, you're going to probably find a successful file and you're not going to have a problem with it. But then again, you might stumble onto a file because you might be doing a keyword search for something specifically that you're looking for, and it might be something like it could be a camera mount, and you put something generic like, I need a camera mount, and then you find all these different files for different type of camera mounts that people make designs for. Well, you're gonna have to go through each one and figure out which one are you actually looking for. And you might find one that says, oh, this is exactly the design that I'm looking for. But if you look at the ratings and the remarks, there might be nothing, or there might be just a couple of downloads but no remarks. Those are the ones that you're going to be kind of questionable and say, okay, if it's either the right amount of people are not looking for that specific type of product, so that's why the low number is there, or it's just not that good of a product and people are staying away from it. It's hard to really tell at that point what you're going to do. So when it gets down to 3D printing, if you sit there and say, I want to take that gamble and see how this print is going to come out, you just run your test. You run the test and you say, if I have to sacrifice to the filament gods this amount of filament, let me go ahead and do it. And see if this is going to be successful or this file is a piece of crap. So at that point, you run your test, and if you get a successful thing, the best thing that you can do is leave your feedback and say, hey, I had a success on this one. If it gives you the capability of putting a photo of the final product that you did, you can provide it out there just so other users can start seeing and say, hey, maybe this is a file that I can trust. But then also with the good ones, you want to also maybe leave your feedback, provide a photo of what you did and say, okay, yeah, I also had a success, this is what I had, and show the community that how your final product came out. Because they may have put the product out there and it was intended to be yellow, but you said, you know what, I wanted to try it in a filament that looks like stone, and you tried it and this is what the end product came out, and it looks like this, and you might encourage other people to start looking for that filament and trying to make it like the one that you did. So there's, again, it's a lot of user feedback in the community that I'm learning, and I'm still new to the community of 3D printing. And for those people that are out there, you know what, I know that I am. If you're a 3D printer and you do this constantly and you've been doing this for years and you're very knowledgeable on it, hey, I give you kudos on that. My thing is, I'm still learning, and I hope if you're out there and you are experienced at 3D printing, and if you can at least give me some feedback telling me, hey, the stuff that you're talking about is spot on, because I feel that I'm coming from a good side, whereas I'm an amateur, just still a noob learning how to do this kind of stuff, and I'm hoping that I'm spreading the information correctly about 3D printing and not really trying to get I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. That's why I keep on trying to say, from my experience, you're going to have successes and you're going to have failures during your 3D printing journey. And as long as you understand that that's going to happen, you'll come out a lot better in the front end. Because if you did not know that coming into 3D printing, and you had your failures happening and you're just cussing up a storm and you're thinking, this thing is a piece of garbage, why did I get this? It may not be your printer, it may not be what you did specifically. It could be something simple as, again, it could be something wrong with the filament that you're using. You might have been, for the project that you were using, you could have been using the incorrect type of filament, because there's so many different type of plastics that are out there, which I'm still learning all the appropriate names to a lot of this plastic. Because like right now, I'm using what's considered PLA, but this PLA is silk PLA, which is not like regular PLA, because it has this shiny tone to it. It has a metallic type look. Standard PLA is like a regular plastic look, kind of like this orange one that's here, which was standard, just regular PLA plastic. Then you're gonna have other filaments that are gonna be like, you'll have specialty ones like glow in the dark, which you'll have green glow in the dark, blue glow in the dark. Then you're gonna have different, other than PLA. PLA is the standard go-to, from what I'm hearing, plastic that you'll use on any type of really basic print job. But then if you need plastic that's going to be more sturdier and more rigid, that more heat resistant, because you might be making a part for your car or something like that, well, then you're going to have to start stepping up into different type of plastics. You'll move from PLA into the PETGs, the PETGs, or the ASAs, or the ABS, I think is what it's called. So there's a bunch of different type of plastics that are out there, and there's ones that have carbon fiber or fiber fillers inside it. Then there's also I think even glass filled. There's so many different type of filaments. That's where you got to be careful on researching the type of printer that you have and what kind of filament can this printer handle, because this printer here, the A1 Mini, can handle PLA and PETG with no issues really. But when you start introducing other filaments that may have other additives into the plastic, that may have abrasives inside there and all this other kind of stuff, this printer may not be graded to take that type of filament. So you need to understand, what am I able to push through this machine, because you don't want to damage this machine. And if you are planning on using those specialty type of plastics, because there's a certain thing that you want to do as far as project wise, that's where you need to do your research first. Because if you're saying my goal is because I need to do this for auto parts, and I'm strictly doing my 3D printing of auto parts that are going to require high heat and all this other kind of stuff, UV, all this other kind of scenarios, well, then you're going to have to start saying, well, can my little printer here, this A1 Mini, handle those plastics that will produce that type of a product? More than likely, this printer here is going to be a no. At that point, that's when you're going to have to start saying, well, what kind of printer will do that? So then you have to start looking at all the specs, and that's the great thing about it. All the companies have all their information out there, and they will tell you which printer you need to get for the type of print job that you plan on doing. But if you just plan on making flexi dragons like I showed you earlier, or these dragon scale pens, and you just want to make little projects, little things, and you want to sit back with your kids and do creative little models and all this other kind of stuff, this type of printer is perfect. This is great printer. You can do a lot of that stuff with this printer. You can use the PLA plastics to do that. If you're to the point that you're like, I'm okay that if I print this product and it breaks, that I know that if it does break, I'll just print out another one, and my kid will be fine with waiting a few hours for a new dragon to be printed out. And maybe they broke one that was a gold color one, and now they're saying, well, yeah, I like the gold one, but can we do it on in silver? Well, it becomes a good family thing. You sit there and you print out a new one, and then if it breaks again, you can always go back and print out a new one. So samples of stuff, like I said, I went yesterday looking for files, and I didn't know what exactly I wanted to print last night, and I was just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I strolled and I saw nothing fancy. It was just a hanger for a shirt hanger that's it was listed as a travel foldable hanger that you could take like on vacation and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, it folds and it prints into one piece, and it automatic, and the joints and everything are built into the print, so everything's gonna not fall apart. You don't have to put anything together. It's all in one piece, and it folds, and it does what it's supposed to do. I put in the print job, took it maybe a couple of hours for it to print, and then right before I went to bed, I came to the printer. It was just sitting there. I forgot about that I had the print job on, and I was like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and take this off. Took it off the minor supports that it had, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's a hanger, and it folds, and it folds like it's supposed to, so it's easy to put into a travel bag or something like that, and it's no issues. Now my thing is, if in 3 months of using it I accidentally drop it and it breaks or something like that, I'm not gonna have any heartache because I didn't have to go out and buy it from anywhere or anything like that. It was printed right here locally at my house. I just may say, you know what? I printed it in white. Now, you know what? I want to print it in blue today to replace the one that I broke. You can just go and print it a new one. Or you may say, I want to add some mixture of colors. If you wanted to do multicolor and you were creative enough to sit there and take the time to mess with the color scheme of the project and you do it and you say, I want this part yellow, I want this part blue, and blah 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 blah. You can do that kind of stuff. Now, for those that have been sitting for a while listening to me, early I talked about color, multicoloring of projects. It is a very cool option to have to be able to do multicolor projects. I'm not gonna sit here and talk super negative about multicolor projects, but if you've never done 3D printing, or if you're new into 3D printing and you were thinking about getting into multicolor projects, just have an understanding. Multicolor printing also equals a lot of filament waste. And to give you a quick explanation on why I say this, is because every time that you're having to change, like say this oops, and by the way, the print job's done. So say like on this model here of the pen, say I wanted to do a multicolor print job, and I wanted this piece right here to be in orange, I wanted this piece to be in black, and this piece to be in green. It sounds simple. It sounds like, okay, well, it's gonna, if I have on my AMS light, if I had 4 colors on there, I had all the appropriate colors inside there, and I know that the printer's going to be able to do it. Well, you got to keep in mind, when it's doing multicolors, it has to lay down a layer after layer after layer to build all the way up. So on a multicolor print job, what it's going to end up doing, if by chance this was now I already forgot what order of colors I was talking about, but just say this was green, this part right here, it's going to start off doing a green circle, and it's going to and basically it's going to lay down the green circle, and then it's going to stop. It's going the head's going to come back over here, and then it's going to purge out all of the green out of the tube, and it's going to reintroduce the next color, which may be black. So then it starts purging out black and spits out the black filament. So it's purging it out all over the system, and now it has the black on standby. You're going to get this little block that's off here on the side, which is a safety block for your color, for the changing the colors, and it's going to sit there and lay a color of black back here on the back print bed. And then once it's done that, it's like a safety thing to make sure that it's flowing out enough of the color. So then it's going to come over here with the black, and it's going to do its layer of black, and then once it's done with that black, it now needs to move over to the next one. So what does it do? It's going to come back over here, spit out all the black that it has in the system right now to introduce the next color, which may be orange. So then the tubes are going to change. It's going to start purging out all that black until it gets all the black out. Then it's going to start purging out orange until it makes sure that there's orange that's coming out. Then it's going to come down here and do its layer of orange on top of that black that was there. Then it'll move over here, do its layer of orange, and then when it's done with that, it's going to come out here and again purge out all that orange, because now it's going to need to come back over here and do green. And that's the cycle that it's going to be doing. So all that purging is going to cause a bunch of wasted filament for multicolors. So if you're going to be investing and you're in a print job, and you understand that I understand that there's going to be a lot of wasted filament because of all those color changes, but I need this project to be in a multicolor. You're going to have to be prepared for the wasted filament. And that's, you'll laugh at this pen right here, because this pen right here, basically, it's gray, it's just like silver and blue. And this simple pen right here wasted so much filament, crazy amount of filament. For the amount of filament that it took to print this one pen, it probably wasted maybe 10 times that amount in wasted filament that I will never be able to recover, because once it's spent and and you have these little these waste nuggets that come out, or the filament poop, which is called in the 3D printing world. Once you start getting all this waste from all the different purging that you've done, and this is just a small amount right here. From, I had white that was in there earlier, that was originally had to be cleaned out of there, and then on a different print job I had blue. I did some black project, and then you see this is the purging of the original for this project here. And then for a solid color, all you're going to waste is maybe a couple of pieces of, for a solid color, you may waste this much waste right here, which is just a little bit, compared to a whole bunch during a multicolor. So that's just food for thought if you think about actually doing 3D printing. And if you are a 3D printer and you're already doing this, then you kind of understand what I'm talking about as far as the waste of the filament. And research also videos on YouTube or on TikTok about this kind of stuff, but you'll also see how much waste there is. And eventually, one of these days, I think that printers are going to catch up in technology where they're going to be able to create, and I think Bamboo is close to having a printer that will have a lot less limited waste on filament for color changes, just based on the design. But what that's going to require, is you would have to have a system that has maybe, if you had 8 colors that you were wanting to use at a given time, you would have to have a printer that had 8 separate nozzles at the standby with the appropriate filament already in there as a standby, ready to print at any given time frame, so that if you're doing it, all that it's doing is switching out the nozzle automatically, rather than purging out filament out of each tube to change it into one specific nozzle that it has to do it dedicated. That's going to be the only way that it can do it. So, but again, by doing that, your price point on printer is going to go up higher, way much higher, for that kind of technicality, as far as being able to change out all those different type of nozzles on a given time to create a multicolor print job. So do I have the capability of doing multicolors? Yes, I do. I can do multicolors right now. And will I do multicolors in the near future? Yeah, I'm going to do multicolors in the future, because there's certain projects that I'm going to want to do in multicolor. But that's the one thing you're going to have understanding, is that with that multicolor that you're going to do, just be prepared for the waste of filament that you're going to go through. It's going to be a lot. Now, if you get it and you want to do nothing but solid colors like we did here, by doing a solid color like this right here, your waste is going to be minimal. It's going to be very minimal. So let's go ahead and we'll crack this one off. So there's that part. There we go with that part. There we go. So we got those out of there. Let me get myself one of my inks. I might have to go buy a whole new pack of this ink. I'm still surprised that I've had this ink since 2020, and I'm just now to the point that I have a purpose of using it. So there we go with that. Screws on just like all the other ones with no issues. No rattle. It's in there perfectly. And you heard the snap? Snaps on perfectly. Not going to come off. And now we have to the collection a rose gold dragon scale pen. I hope you guys like this one. I think this actually came out really good. To see it up close, it's actually a really good print job. And thank you so much. Thank you for the likes. Seeing those likes makes me understand that you guys do understand. You do agree on the like of the actual product. I didn't see a lot of I wasn't keeping a track of all the likes that people were leaving, but I definitely do thank you for leaving the likes. It does help out with the TikTok algorithms. And you see here, this part is going to be nothing but waste. At some point in the near future, I hope that, well, I know that there's some people that do their own customized recycling of filament, and they have the way to try to remake wasted filament into new filament, and I hope there's going to be easier machines to do that in the near future. But to do that, what you would have to have an understanding is you would want to say, okay, if I would have to collect all of my specific waste in this color, in this PLA plastic, and keep it separate, and separate them in separate bags, and mark them, and start collecting that, because because you don't want to be mixing PLA waste with PETG waste, because they're plastics, but they're two different type of plastics that don't adhere to each other. So you're going to be causing problems if you mix those type of plastics together. So, and these are little things that I've been learning from watching other YouTube videos and listening to people on TikTok Live that have been talking about this kind of stuff. So this is just stuff I'm still getting a grasp of right now. For the future, if I ever decided to, like, for all of this stuff that's inside here, like all of this waste that's inside here, if I started right now to separate each one of these pieces into its own little container or bag, and start marking the bag specifically with what kind of plastic this is, and just keep on loading that for the near future, and then at some point in the future I might say, okay, I properly separated all this, and if I had a machine that could shred this stuff, melt it, extrude it into new filament that I can feed into this machine, well, that'd be great. It's just I know that some people are doing that, but they're making their own machines, they're making their own stuff and putting, all their own. I don't know if I'm ready to start doing that kind of stuff experimental wise. I would rather go to a company like Bamboo Labs and say, if they had their own product that they sold out there where you can shred your own weight, plastic waste, and generate your own plastic would be great, because I could sit back and say, well, I have a whole bunch of these orange basic PLA plastic benchy boats that I don't need anymore, and I don't know why I would print out a whole bunch of orange benchies in the same color. I don't think a person would actually do that, but if I did that, well, honestly, if I didn't need this anymore, and I had a bag full of wasted filament that was purged out, that was going to be shredded, and I said, you know what, I don't need this anymore, I can shred this too. So I'll just add that to the collection, shred it, and then if the machine can make out new filament in this color, well, that'd be great. Yep. But I hope 3D printing. I know 3D printing is not the most exciting thing out there. It is a slow process. It can take a long time to do specific projects, because I know when I get a bigger printer, and it's supposed to be in tomorrow, if I get that printer that I'm gonna get that printer that I ordered. When it comes in, the bigger the printer is and the bigger print jobs I can do, the longer it's going to take those print jobs to go. So that 2 hours right there for that one pen that we put together, well, let me put it back out here. So that 2 hours for this pen right here, if I went and cloned this pen parts, the 3 parts, and filled this entire bed with these designs of three parts of all of it inside one bed like here, that 2 hours that it took for this one pen will now take, you just start, I don't know how many total pens it would take to fill up this entire bed. Well, now you're extending that out, in those hours. It could be 16 hours, 18 hours to do an entire bed of pens, because it's gonna, add that extra time. Well, you get a bigger printer that can have way much more space to add more. Now your time's gonna go up higher. And that's why I understand now when a person says that they're printing a Mandalorian helmet, for a Star Wars Mandalorian helmet on a larger printer, and they're doing a full-size helmet in one print job, I can understand why it would take possibly 24 hours for it to print a large helmet that extends way up higher, because you figure that a Mandalorian helmet's going to probably be up like, it's the height-wise up here to the bed. So all those layers that it's going to have to do of plastic, I can understand why it's going to take it that long. And having that pre-knowledge of understanding that 3D printing is not magic. It's not going to just appear right there on your print plate. Knowing that, okay, I see what I want to print, I see the estimated times based on what the computer or the app's telling me how long it's going to take. So in advance, if you know something's going to take 12 hours to print, and you're sitting there going, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be sitting here for the whole 12 hours watching this print happening. I'm going to go live my life, go do what I'm going to do, and I could sacrifice that 12 hours to the printer and let it do what it's going to do, and then hopefully in 12 hours I'll be good to go. Well, that's what 3D printing is. A lot of people that are doing a lot of their projects are basically starting their projects. They may monitor it for a few hours, coming back and forth during the evenings, looking at what's going on, and then say, okay, well, let me go to bed, and I'll see how things look in the morning. They wake up in the morning, it may be a long print job. They come and oversee everything, say, okay, everything looks like it's progressing okay. especially if it's like a multicolor stuff where it's constantly doing changes. They may need to change their waste bucket or whatever just to free up some space. And then they'll go up along their day, go do what they gotta do, and then they come back and check it, and then by that time they come back, they're like, oh, it's done. And then they're taking out the product, cleaning it off the beds, changing out the beds, and then if they have their next project, then they get it set up and they go to the next one. It's not saying that just because you have a 3D printer, you don't have to have this thing on 24 hours a day printing. But could you? Yeah, you probably could. Yeah. I feel right now I'm going on a rant about stuff, so that's probably because I'm tired. It's been a long day. And again, I honestly thank you everybody for taking your time to, spending it here, listening to me do this conversation in reference to 3D printing. I really do want to get a better camera system set up so that at least we can I can show you guys what's going on, and then plus at the same time frame let you guys see me at the same time frame while I'm talking. But that's coming soon. Hopefully I'll have everything set up a little bit better in the near future, and then on future live streams everything will be going better. But for now, I definitely again thank you for very much for stopping by. For those individuals that are still here that had left me likes and gifts, I definitely appreciate those. Whatever gifts were given, whatever funds come out of that is going to go right back into this 3D printing projects and continue this educational journey that I've gotten myself into. And we'll see what the next print job is going to be. Hopefully the next, if you follow me, check my profile periodically. I'm going to try to be putting up time-lapse photos of some of these projects. I didn't do one on this pen, but I may do it on my next project that I set up here in a few minutes. So just definitely feel free to follow me. If I do see you follow me, I will follow you back. I'll do that courtesy. And I won't spam you with unwanted messages. I think the only thing that you'll get as far as messages from me is probably stuff saying that, oh, hey, so-and-so is online, or he's just started a live stream and stuff like that. But I won't go out there sending out crazy stuff saying, hey, come to my website and start buying my stuff. You won't get any of that stuff from me, so don't worry about it. But if you send me that stuff, I'll block you. Alrighty. Well, thanks again, everybody, for spending time with me tonight, and I hope that you come and visit me again, and I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Alrighty. Have a great one. Thanks.
It's 9:30 this morning. Race age.
Alrighty, YouTube folks, I definitely appreciate you. For anybody that was out there watching, I know nobody was watching, so I saw my stream and I saw that nobody showed up. So other than that, if you stumble onto this somehow in the future, thank you for stopping by.